Tehran vows a crushing response to America and Israel. But behind the threats, Iran scrambles to rebuild. Missiles lost in June, Russia's backing gone cold, Khamenei left in hiding. Now, whispers say China steps in where Moscow won't. For Israel, the danger looms. A wounded Iran, cornered and rearming. The IRGC has asserted the Iranian nation's readiness to decisively stand up to the Islamic Republic's adversaries and force them into submission as it has in previous confrontations. The Corps delivered the remarks in a statement on Sunday, marking the anniversary of the return of liberated prisoners of war that was imposed by Iraq's former dictator, Saddam Hussein, on the country in the 1980s. The IRGC linked the endurance of former prisoners of war to Iran's broader military victories, citing the 8-year Iran-Iraq War and what it described as the country's role in forcing Israeli-American aggression to end in June after 12 days of hostilities. It was referring to the Iranian armed forces compelling the Iraqi aggressors to retreat amid overwhelming popular support, as well as their prompting the Israeli regime to request a ceasefire on June 24th, despite its having received unprecedented American support throughout the 12-day aggression. At the same time, the General Staff of the Iranian Armed Forces has sternly warned the United States and Israel against any renewed aggression against the Islamic Republic, stressing that such folly will be met with a crushing response much stronger than that of the 12-day imposed war in June.
Once again, we firmly warn the criminal America and the malicious and brutal Zionist regime to abandon conspiracies and hostility against a powerful and invincible Iran. In the event of any miscalculation or satanic action, what prevented us from wider operations during the 12-day imposed war will no longer apply. This time, they will face new surprises and far more crushing blows.
Moreover, the commander of the Qatam al-Anbiya Air Defense Base, Brigadier General Alireza Sabahifard, said that the air defense forces are courageously and powerfully spearheading the combat to defend Iran's sovereignty. Iran is reportedly seeking to rebuild its military capabilities after the 12-day war with Israel, with a particular focus on air defense systems and its missile program, which suffered heavy losses during the conflict. According to Israeli media, Tehran has shown interest in acquiring advanced Russian defense systems, but Moscow's response has been described as lukewarm, reflecting strained ties following what observers in Israel called Iran's embarrassing defeat. Israeli outlet Enet cited intelligence assessments suggesting that China is providing support for Iran's missile program. Now, with Iran working to rebuild missile capabilities damaged during the June conflict, Western intelligence agencies fear Beijing may be stepping in. Western intelligence agencies, mainly European, have reported increasing cooperation between Tehran and Beijing in the production of ballistic and surface-to-surface missiles. On August 15th, Israeli daily Yedioth Aharonoth cited intelligence findings warning that China may be helping Tehran restore its missile arsenal damaged during the war. Senior Israeli officials said China's intentions are not entirely clear, and Israel has conveyed messages to Beijing regarding this issue. According to them, China has not confirmed reports about its willingness to replenish missile stockpiles or send weapons to the Iranian regime. However, the country's actions suggest the practical rebuilding of Iran's capabilities, something concerning for Israel that could have significant strategic consequences. The Chinese embassy in Israel denied such claims last month. In a July 9th statement, it dismissed reports about supplying Tehran with advanced air defense systems as false and inaccurate, stressing that China never exports weapons to countries that are in a state of war. Nevertheless, intelligence officials told Israeli outlets that after Israel's strike on Iran in November 2024, China had provided Tehran with certain dual-use equipment. The current concern, they said, is broader, centering on the full rebuilding and possible expansion of Iran's missile capabilities. The Wall Street Journal reported that Tehran had already ordered materials from China for hundreds of ballistic missiles in June. And in July, Israel's ambassador to the United States, Yechiel Leiter, warned of troubling signs of Chinese support as Iran sought to replenish its arsenal. The reports come as Israel has signaled the possibility of further strikes on Iran. This week, IDF Chief of Staff Eyal Zamir told Israel Army Radio that the military remained prepared for renewed operations. "We are ready to pay a heavy price to ensure our survival." Critics in Israel argue that Western policies of concessions towards Iran in past years enabled Tehran to expand its regional influence, warning that the clerical establishment in Tehran will not abandon its military ambitions voluntarily. A rift is reportedly emerging between Moscow and Tehran, with Iranian officials increasingly frustrated over what they see as Vladimir Putin's failure to back the Islamic Republic during its most vulnerable moment. CNN reported, citing Western intelligence sources, that Tehran has grown resentful over Russia's limited support in the wake of Israel's 12-day war with Iran in June. The frustration comes despite a $1.75 billion weapons deal signed in 2023, under which Russia acquired the designs to domestically produce Iran's Shahed drones, an arrangement once described as a covert partnership. While Shahed drones have become a cornerstone of Moscow's campaign in Ukraine, Tehran reportedly feels it has been left shortchanged. Russian officials condemned Israel's offensive as unprovoked and unacceptable and offered mediation, but stopped short of providing military assistance. Iran, left to fight alone, suffered heavy losses. Israel carried out waves of strikes on nuclear facilities and military sites, killing more than 30 senior commanders and at least 11 nuclear scientists, forcing Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei into hiding. A Western intelligence official told CNN the episode underscored Moscow's transactional approach.
This explicit disengagement demonstrates that Russia never intervenes beyond its immediate interests, even when a partner, here an essential supplier of drones, is attacked.
Adding to Tehran's frustrations, Russia has since developed its own cheaper, more advanced versions of the Shahed, reportedly reducing costs from $200,000 per unit to just $70,000. Ukrainian officials say the modified drones are harder to intercept. Satellite images indicate that as much as 90% of Shahed production now occurs inside Russia, centered at a massive facility in Alabuga, around 600 miles east of Moscow. The plant continues to expand despite Western sanctions. It remains unclear how much Moscow still owes Tehran under the $1.75 billion deal. But intelligence sources suggest some payments were delayed or avoided entirely due to restrictions on Russia's financial system. For Tehran, the combination of battlefield losses, unpaid debts, and Moscow's apparent indifference during the war with Israel has sharpened doubts about the durability of the Russia-Iran partnership, once touted as a strategic axis against the West.